Before we dive into the fascinating story of Giancarlo Peretti, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to stay up to date on the latest stories from around the world. As a seasoned documentary maker, I've had the privilege of capturing stories from all corners of the globe, but none as captivating as the tale of Giancarlo Peretti. This Italian waiter turned hotelier turned business tycoon has a story so fantastical it could easily be mistaken for fiction. Giancarlo Peretti's dream was to establish his own studio in Hollywood, and he managed to do so by spinning an extraordinary tale about his past and financial status. In 1990, he acquired MGM, a studio behind The Wizard of Oz, Gone with the Wind, and Bond films, at a price of $1.3 billion. However, his short-lived leadership was marked by financial turmoil, including bounce checks to actors, massive layoffs, and an FBI probe into suspected accounting anomalies. It's a story that's been documented in the film The Man Who Definitely Didn't Steal Hollywood, directed by John Dower for BBC. According to Dower, Peretti's tale is an incredibly surprising one. He's been producing documentaries for 25 years and considers Peretti one of the most captivating storytellers he's ever met. There were instances during filming when Dower couldn't help but question why Peretti was sharing so many unusual details with him. Peretti's backstory is a wild ride full of claims of being left on the steps of an Italian cathedral as an infant, working as a waiter in London during the 1960s, and befriending the Beatles and Winston Churchill. However, the question remains, is any of that accurate? It's certainly true that he was in London. Dower confirms. In the 1970s, Peretti transitioned from being a waiter to owning multiple hotels, but the specifics of his rise to success remain unclear. I never fully understood it, acknowledges Dower. He simply stated, I'm self-made, I achieved success, I bought one hotel and then I acquired a few more. By the end of the 1980s, Peretti had accumulated a staggering sum of over $1 billion to purchase MGM. It's intriguing that someone so eager to own a film studio had absolutely no familiarity with movies, as Dower puts it. He hadn't even heard of Citizen Kane. And for Peretti, buying MGM was secondary to the lifestyle his money allowed him to enjoy, including owning a $9 million 14-room Beverly Hills mansion decorated with paintings by Goya, Picasso, and Mito, which may or may not have been genuine. He drove a brown $200,000 Rolls-Royce, flew in a private jet, and hung out with film stars. He liked the art of the deal, says Dower, and he liked the status. During his brief stint as owner, Peretti's management of MGM was disastrous, as evidenced by the movie that portrays the ludicrous events of his leadership. He made headlines by bringing a real lion to his inaugural press conference and appointed his 21-year-old daughter to a high-ranking financial position. Looking back, the entire project appears as if it were predestined for collapse, leaving one to wonder why a company as esteemed as MGM permitted the sale to proceed. Dower alleges that they were complicit in this action. At the time of the sale, very little was known about this individual, and one would assume that some investigation or background check would be prudent before making such a significant move. But it seems it was purely about the financial gains. Uh, the the In a similar situation, both MGM and Peretti spotted an opening. Um, However, whether his wealth was genuine or built on illusions, smoke, mirrors, and numerous shell companies was questionable. According to Dower, I believe he simply bit off more than he could chew. He became intoxicated by his own success and kept pushing further anti-men women. When he approached MGM, it all started to crumble in a matter of weeks. I think the issue was the funds simply weren't available. It seems that Peretti won over many people due to his captivating charm, humor, and exceptional culinary skills. Dower describes him as utterly beguiling, saying he's just so delightful. As a documentary filmmaker accustomed to eating meals from the back of a car, Peretti was cooking up homemade ravioli and seafood risottos for them with fine wine. In March 1999, Giancarlo Peretti was found guilty of misuse of corporate funds and fraud and sentenced to 4 years prison, but fled back to Italy days before sentencing. MGM filed for bankruptcy in 2010 and emerged from bankruptcy later that year. In 2022, MGM Holdings was bought by Jeff Bezos's Amazon. As for Peretti at the moment, he resides peacefully in Umbria. He lives in a grand estate, remarks Dower, so he's not facing hardships. He plays tennis. He enjoys delicious lunches, and he seems to relish life, says Dower, and I fucky. I believe he's quite content. Wasn't he able to evade the consequences? I wonder. Indeed, like he did. He absolutely did, and he managed to escape the repercussions, replies Dower. And that's the story of Giancarlo Peretti, a man who left an indelible mark on Hollywood, but also left many questions unanswered. As the saying goes, you can't make this stuff up. But in Peretti's case, it seems like he did. So with that said, thanks for watching. And until next time,